I'm happy to be back, and today I want to talk about patience. Okay. So, before we talk about patience, first things first, if you're new to this channel, you're most welcome. Please subscribe to the channel, like, and share this live. And for those who are part of the family, who keep watching the videos that we put out, thank you so much for joining this live, and I really appreciate your support. All right, so hi Laura Whitson, how are you? It's been a minute. How are you doing? So today I want to talk about patience. All right. Okay, so what is this word patience? Why do I want to talk about it? Yeah, these are some of the things that you might be wondering. Is it wondering about? I think that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, patience is actually a noun. All right, and patience could mean different things to different people, but there is the universal meaning of patience is that thing that comes to mind when you think of patience. Oh, you're good. Oh, that's good to know. Well, welcome back. So um how are you? I'm good, Laura. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well. I can't complain. All right, yeah. So patience is the ability to remain calm and to endure difficult or trying circumstances, and also being able to accept delays while being calm and collected. Okay. Cool, calm, and collected. All right. um Being patient, okay, is okay, I thought I saw another message, but I did not. All right. So being patient is, I would say, the act of exercising patience. All right. Yeah. So, so being patient also really just has the same meaning of being able to accept delays, problems, and or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Okay. Yeah. So you need to be able to deal with certain things in life without being frustrated, annoyed, anxious, and by doing so, I would say that you're being patient. All right. Am I patient, or am I a patient person? Yes. Am I patient all the time? No. I'll be the first to say that I do not think I am patient all the time. But over the years, I've really learned to exercise patience, right? It is not the easiest thing to do, but it is definitely worth it because it saves you from a lot of issues. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to read that comment. Let me pull it up from here so that I may be able to see. Yeah. So it's easy to talk about patience or being patient, but when it comes to sorry about that. I was trying to pull up the oh, hi John, how are you? Oh, John from Miami, Florida. Oh, you're listening. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for listening. Sorry about that hiccup. Yeah. So because I want to be able to read your comments. Yeah. Anyway, so I was thinking about this today, and I was like, okay, let me come and talk about it. Maybe I might learn new things from your comments and experiences, and it's also a good subject to talk about, right? Because we are all faced with instances and scenarios on a daily basis that require patience. Yeah, situations that require us to be patient, right? I don't know if you've heard of the saying that patience pays. I really think it does, but sometimes you're just like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. But there are two sayings that I think of. Patience is a virtue and patience pays, right? Okay, like we said earlier, patience is the ability to remain calm, to accept delays, endure trying circumstances without becoming angry, upset, annoyed, anxious. Yeah. And so it's really not an easy thing to do, if you ask me. Yeah. Because there are certain circumstances that just try you, push you to the wall. But if we go back to the two sayings that I just mentioned, patience is a virtue and patience pays. These two sayings actually will put a lot of things into context once we look at different scenarios or different circumstances that really require us to be patient, right? Okay, so hi Glenn, hi, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday and happy fall. Yeah. So before we look at the different scenarios that would require us to exercise patience, why don't we look at the key aspects of patience, right? Calmness and tolerance, very key. You have to be calm, super calm, like cool, calm, and collected. I know this is easier said, okay, than done, but this is something that you really need to be if you want to be a patient person. You have to be tolerant, mostly because there are a lot of things that might rub you the wrong way, rub me the wrong way, or there are things that one might not agree with. So for us to exercise patience, we really need to be tolerant. And that's where the term, like, let's agree to disagree, I think would be so helpful. Yeah, because not everyone is going to agree with our views, not everyone is going to agree with our beliefs, you know. So it is very, very important to be tolerant and to be calm. Yeah, and I've come to find out that when you're calm, it helps you think through things in a very objective and measured way, right? You just don't rush into things. Oh my gosh, where did that come from? Yeah, so being calm is very important, and that's why I don't know where I had this from, but there are people who say or believe that don't make decisions when you're super happy or super upset, right? Because at that time you have all these emotions going on, you're not able to think straight or objectively or rationally. So yeah, it's very important to be calm, and I think that would help us see things in a different way, and would also really, really help us to be patient. Okay, having a healthier let me just say healthy attitude, but I don't know how to explain that. I think that would mean just having a positive outlook on things, right? Yeah, not being bitter Betty all the time. I would say looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty. Just what really helps me at times is just looking at the things that I'm grateful for. If you like writing, you could write them down, you could journal, you know, the things that you're grateful for. Like every single day, I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful, so I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for good health. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful just for a lot of things, you know, for food that I can eat. I'm grateful for taste, that I can actually taste the food that I'm eating. So sometimes there are things that might seem minute, but they're really, really very, very important. And I think if we have that kind of outlook, it would help us be patient, right? Amen, Glenn. Endurance, yes. When it comes to patience or being patient, we need to be able to endure a lot of things. Yeah, so it means we will in life, you get provoked a lot, right? So are you able to endure that provocation, so that you don't lose your temper, you know? So that's a very important question to ask ourselves, because that essentially will help us be patient, or to practice patience. So we need to be able to endure a lot of things, yeah? So many things or people will provoke us in this life, and that is true 100%. There are some provocations that are intentional, like someone who do it intentionally to like rile you up. And so we need to know, not to fall into that kind of trap. And frankly speaking, for someone who provokes, and I'm not judging, but I'm judging, to provoke someone intentionally, I don't think that's a good thing, especially because I can only control how I act, but I can't control how the other person acts, right? So that's why we need to like look out for these things. Like if you see it's a provocation and you're gonna lose your temper, maybe just figure out a way that you can deal with it, because maybe what works for me might not work for the other person, right? And then yeah, so just making sure that if it could be a provocation, it could be a misfortune, or it could be like something that involves a lengthy process, and I have gone through that. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you're trying to do something, but the process is so lengthy to the point that you like cannot even see the end. Yeah, but eventually it will happen, but just going through that requires endurance. Yeah. This is not to say that you'll not be upset at times, or you'll not feel disappointed. Of course, that's normal. We are human beings and you'll go through all these feelings. Um, it's the way we actually react to it that will really help us in our journey of exercising patience, right? Yeah, we are not shooting for perfection, but we are just trying to be patient in ways that will not negatively affect us or negatively impact our lives, right? Yeah, so endurance is key. So we talked about being calm and tolerant, and endurance is also key, very, very important. And I would say that it's such instances or such situations that really build character, right? Yeah, because until you're in that situation, or until you're in scenarios where you need to exercise patience, you really don't know what you can take or how you can handle situations. So, and I also think, or I would even go ahead and say no, that it is such instances that really builds our characters, and we grow. Every day you learn something, you grow, and you become a better person. Yeah, so very, very important, having a positive outlook towards situations and things. We talked about looking at the glass half full instead of half empty, and just writing down the things that you're grateful for. Okay. Yeah. And so another key aspect of being patient, or key aspect of patience, is there too. So perseverance and decision making. Yes. We talked about endurance, okay? And now perseverance. Yes, you can endure, but for how long are you able to endure something, right? So perseverance means like you're able to take it and still remain focused, right? And still remain calm, and still look at the end goal, and not get sidetracked by other emotions that might come into play and really mess up what you have going on for yourself, right? Yeah. So, and then acceptance. Okay, acceptance is key. I think maybe we should have started. Oh, what did I just say? I think we should have started with being with acceptance, to be honest, right? Because I feel like once you accept a situation, right, then you're able to deal with it more calmly. Yeah, and then it could also just help cool down a lot of emotions, flaring emotions out there, right? Yeah. So acceptance involves accepting situations that might be undesirable. Most of the times they are undesirable. And also just accepting that there, like, things take time. Yeah, and we cannot really rush everything in life. And if you're going through a process and it's a lengthy process, accepting the fact that that is how it is and it cannot be rushed. And I think this would eventually give us a more peaceful state of mind. Yeah, you'll be more at peace. Yeah, but accepting is not easy. It is not easy. Yeah, because when you're in it right now, it's easy to like just talk about it and say, oh, this is what you need to do, this is what we need to do. But your character is really tested when you're going through these situations, right? Yeah. And so being accepting of your situation, and just knowing that with time, things will work out. And even if they do not work out, you accept the fact that, celebi, that is life. Yeah. So we've looked at the key aspects of patience, right? And now I would like us to like just go through different examples of being patient, like actually being patient. And please feel free to share in the comment section. Let me know of the situations that you've had to practice patience, like situations that really tested you and you almost lost your temper. you know yeah. So let's talk about it. So let's talk about different examples of like being patient. One that really, really tries me is slow internet connection. I know that might not be a priority to many, but to me, in 2025, I cannot stand slow internet connection, right? Yeah. Um, it differs to sometimes the data is okay, like it works fine and it's fast. Sometimes it's the Wi-Fi that's faster, but just having like slow internet connection, especially when you're trying to make a call, when you're on a phone call, right? It can be annoying to say the least, right? And that is when your patience is tested, you know? Yeah. So in 2025, slow internet connection can be a pain. A pain, yeah. And so when we are going through such situations, how do you exercise patience, right? Yeah. Am I going to lose my temper and act crazy just because the internet connection is slow? Or am I, probably going to reschedule the call or the meeting, or probably find something else to do? There's one scenario that I thought of. It hasn't happened to me, but just imagine, like, if you're on Zoom call and it's an interview, and your internet connection like starts acting up. Oh my gosh. That would drive anyone crazy. Yeah. And so even in that moment, because you're not going to like be visibly upset in the presence of your recruiter or the person interviewing you, or even if it's like an important business meeting, it could even be a call with a family member. So Usa, that's when we need to start practicing the things we were talking about earlier, like being calm, you know, being able to endure. Yeah, but I have to be honest, in the moment, maybe you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking of like, oh my gosh, this internet connection. Oh my gosh, why is this happening now? Blah, 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 blah. Like a lot of things go through your brain or through your mind. And yeah, we just need to remind ourselves to like be calm, be patient. And that's the only way I believe that we can figure out a solution to the problem. Because to be honest, like being mad about it, being upset, yeah, that's not going to help the situation, you know? Yeah, in fact, it might even make it worse. So we need to calm down. What's that? I don't know where this bag came from. This is crazy, yo. And I don't want to kill it. It's fall and it's like bugs everywhere. Like literally. Okay. I don't want to kill it, but I hope it will not it will not come and bite me. Okay. I haven't seen one in the house. I don't know where this one came from. But anyway, we are talking about being patient. So I just shared an example of slow internet connection. All right. And then another scenario, you guys can also let me know in the comment section, like the different instances that really really test your patience, and when you really have to calm yourself down, not act crazy. Okay, another one that really gets to me: traffic jam or jams. Oh my gosh, being stuck in traffic can be annoying. uh, the first thing I think of, like when I'm stuck in traffic, the first question that comes to mind is like, what could have happened, you know? uh like, is it an accident? If it's an accident, of course my heart goes out to the people involved, and I'm just hoping that no one is hurt, or that it's not fatal. And then the other thought that comes to mind is that, is it just someone who's driving slowly, and that's why we are now stuck in this traffic jam? And trust me, that has happened. For example, I could be driving in a 45 miles per hour zone, and someone is going at 30 and below. Oh my God. In fact, I'll add driving to the traffic jam, just driving in general, and all aspects that come with that. When you're on the road, it can be so, so stressful, because people do just things that really I can't explain, like things that are not normal. Yeah. For example, why would you drive at 30 at a speed of 30 miles per hour in a 45-mile per hour zone? Why would you do that? You know? That really really upsets me. But because I don't want to have road rage and act crazy on the roads and put my life in danger, I have learned the art of being patient on the roads, especially as a driver. I have to calm myself down, just think of something else. And if I have to be somewhere at a certain time, I try. I don't do it all the time, but I do try to have an allowance, because you don't know what you're going to find on the road, right? You could have timed yourself and you're like, if I move at this speed, I'll be where I need to be at this time. But that's not how it works out, right? It There could be someone who decided that I am going to drive at this speed, and the person so happens to be in front of you, and you can't bypass them at that time. It is so annoying. And in such scenarios, I have had to like just practice this virtue called patience. Okay. So traffic jams can be annoying, super, super annoying. And people who drive slowly, when they really need to drive at the speed limit is there for a reason. Okay. If it says 45 miles per hour, can we keep it at that, please? 45? At least, like, that's the least that we can do. All right. And then I already talked about slow internet. And on top of slow internet, I can also talk about it could be any form of technology you could be using. Of course, most of them are powered by internet nowadays. but just something that would slow you down, that would really like rile anyone up. Okay. And then, so like in traffic jams, I have learned to like not honk at people, and I try not to get angry, so I just think of ways to be calm. I could listen to a podcast, yeah, or try to plan my days ahead, or just think about something else, yeah, because that's all I can do while I'm waiting. In yeah. And then um another scenario where you really need to be patient, and it helps in this example, it really helps if you love children. So if you love children, just ignore this, and yeah, that's fine. But I don't mean that people who are impatient with children do not love children. Please, I don't want this to be taken out of context, right? I just say that if you deeply, truly love the kids, then it makes it a lot easier, Yeah. So helping, like dealing with children, sometimes kids can can really, really test your patience. And yeah, we don't want to be like shouting at kids and doing all that stuff that will negatively impact the children. So for someone who really is with kids all the time, even if it's just for a short period of time, one thing you need to be is calm, and you need to be super supportive, and you really need to understand the child, right? Yeah, because they are children at the end of the day, right? So maybe you could be issuing instructions, but the kid is interpreting it in a different way, because their brains are still developing, they're still children. Yeah, so when we are around kids or with kids, patience is key. You don't want to lose your temper. You don't want to be angry, yeah, because that will just negatively impact the child. And unfortunately, there have been instances in schools, homes, where adults lose their temper and they harm children. So you don't want that. So with kids, I would say it is mandatory. And if it's not, if it's work in progress, it is something that should be at the forefront, to like just always be patient, always be calm. And at the end of the day, they're children. Children, why do you want to be out there fighting kids, or being shouting at kids, or being pissed off and stuff like that? Of course, there are measures that parents and teachers take to discipline children, yeah. And so that's a different conversation, I would say. But yeah, when you're with kids and dealing with kids, patience is key. Super, super important. Okay. Yeah. Difficult people. Oh my gosh. I don't know. This one is like, because how do you know that you're not the difficult person? I don't know. In life, everyone thinks highly of themselves, as you should, Yeah, but dealing with difficult people can be difficult, I would say difficult or stubborn, you know. Honestly, when you meet a stubborn person, it could really, I don't know which words I can use. When you meet a stubborn person, that doesn't necessarily mean that the person is bad. No, some people are just stubborn, set in their ways, stubborn, and yeah, that can really test your patience, right? And also, so difficult, it really depends on how you'd want to define it or how you look at it. For me, I see difficult as being maybe someone who's just naturally stubborn, or someone who's set in their ways. And on the other hand, someone could be difficult because they are just outrightly disrespectful, or rude or disruptive. Now, the first part I can handle, but the other parts, I don't know. Like, why would someone just go out there and be rude and disrespectful and disruptive? I don't have an answer to that, but there are people like that out there. And the most important thing is for us not to be provoked to the point that we lose our temper and become difficult, like the difficult people we are trying to deal with. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm just sharing different examples and different scenarios that would require us to be patient, right? Um, I mean, I walk away sometimes it's real hard. Yeah, I understand, Glenn. Yeah. Sometimes it's really hard. And it's okay to be honest, like we are being while having this conversation, because that's the only way you're able to grow. You're able to know how to handle situations like this, because you don't want to live in the Lulu land and think like, oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm a patient person. But when you're faced with a situation that you need to be patient, then all things fall apart. We don't want that, right? Yeah. So we want to just make sure that we understand the different aspects of being patient and how we can handle ourselves in different situations and scenarios. Yeah. So, okay, I'm good. This is just my mirror check time. Another thing that really requires patience is achieving fitness goals. It can be quite the task, right? Because sometimes you eat right, you exercise, you do all the right things or all the things that you think are right, but then it really takes a while to see the results, right? And there are many instances where you just feel like giving up or you really get frustrated. Um, so, in achieving fitness goals, patience is key. Otherwise, you might get so discouraged to the point that you look for shortcuts, like quick fix that might, and these quick fixes sometimes really, really negatively affect someone or negatively impact your life. So when it comes to fitness goals, just being patient, and what has worked for me is I just like embrace whatever situation I'm in at that time. Of course, sometimes when it's just you and the mirror and your thoughts, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah. But it's also good to go through those emotions because it really helps you to accept, you know accept yourself, accept your situation. And we did talk about acceptance being a key aspect of patience. Yeah. So fitness goals can be quite the challenge. Yeah. Because sometimes you work out, you run, you do all these forms of exercises, but when you are on that weighing scale, you're like, what's happening? Yeah. Or like you like have do intermittent fasting. You don't eat as much fast food as you like to, and like you're really trying to be on a healthy path, but you don't see those results. Of course, you won't see the results within months. Sometimes it takes years for you to just actually achieve your fitness goals. You might achieve all of them, some of them, or maybe not. But one thing I've come to realize, as we grow older, our bodies change. And this is okay, and this is normal, okay? When I was younger, oh my gosh, I would just eat and I'll be like, Jim, who?